Hey guys, Cichlid Mania here. This video is pretty much going to be about breeding cichlids. A couple of you guys have been sending me messages today on wanting me to make a video. One of you was Snowmobiling23. Hey man, just want to say thanks for all the cool comments and all the likes and basically the ideas for videos. I appreciate that. And also one of our new subscribers, Reptilian Basics, he wanted to basically know how to breed cichlids in general. He knows that's a huge topic, but what I'll basically try to do is cover the best that I can. Let's see, Snowmobiling 23, he mainly wanted to know about Jack Dempsey's. You know, to be honest with you guys, I've never bred Jack Dempsey's. I know a lot about breeding them, but never have even attempted or even tried until now. I bought my two fish, basically my Jack Dempsey's male and female. They're about 4.5, 5 inches when I got them. And I threw them in the tub, waiting for them to reach sexual maturity, and I'll take it from there. But I've done enough research on it to pretty much tell you guys how to breed that kind of species. So I'll go ahead and jump right into that. Basically, male and female Jack Dempsey's, I mean, it's not really something you just throw two fish in a tank and hope that they work out. They will pair up, is what you call it, I guess. And basically, when this happens, a lot of lip locking goes on. Basically, this is the male testing the female. She's just basically supposed to hold her ground, and the reason why the male does this with the female is he's trying to figure out if she's going to be worthy enough of holding his eggs, keeping them safe, things like that. Excuse me. Basically, I mean, I'm sure you guys are going to want to know how to basically tell the difference between a male and a female. The easiest way I do it is males are usually prettier than the females. Same thing with birds with this species. The males have more spangles. Those are those little speckled spots that you see that have that oilish turquoise tint to them on most of your Dempseys. The more that are on the fish, more likely it's a male. Also, the top and bottom fins are usually trimmed in yellow, orange, or even red. That means that's a male. That's one of the ways to tell. You know, usually during breeding, these fish are going to really possess the truest colors. You know, they're really going to be really pretty, and you know, so during breeding time would probably be the best time to basically know exactly what it is. A lot of people, what they'll do is they'll throw in some fish and you know, 6 or so, and hope that one of them pairs up, and you know, we'll see what happens after that. But you know, since I've never done it, you know, I'm not too worried about it. Basically, you're going to want to try to pick the same size fish within an inch or two. Yes, a larger male can breed with a way smaller fish. Yeah, that's possible. It's more unlikely that he would choose a female like that, but the easiest is just stick with basically the same size fish. I don't know, here's a little cool thing too. If you guys really want to get your Dempseys to pop and color and really get them really bright, I would do any colored food. Just like this Omega, what is this? Omega 1 superfood. This is called Super Color Cichlid Pellets. I would go with anything like this that's got whole salmon in it, a lot of color to the food, none of that plain food. Any of this veggie rounds, let's see. This has got spirulina, I can never pronounce this, but spirulina. It's a type of algae, and that really brings out the color in Jack Dempsey's. Also live foods. Any of your brine shrimp, bloodworms, basically those are frozen stuff, but you could even get into the flies, earthworms, crickets, let me think, what other kind of bug, a moth, whatever. You just throw that on top of the water, and those guys will devour it. So those are really going to bring out the colors. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about? In your breeding tank. Okay, so if you got a breeding tank going on with Jack Dempsey's, they're going to destroy this tank. Don't plan on decorating it with plastic plants and making it look all pretty. You pretty much throw the plastic plants in there and let them deal with it. They will rip those out of the ground and put them where they want to put it. Most of the time they'll build a big nest with the gravel and basically move things out of the way, mess with your heaters, all that stuff. But a real good plant to put in there is hornwort, which is basically what I got going on in both of these tanks. The cool thing about it is, they can move this stuff out of the way. It can float around and still live. But the biggest thing is it helps with the nitrates and the waste. These are dirty fish, and these things, the more waste that's in the water, the more that stuff will thrive. I figured that's a good thing to put in there with Jack Dempsey's, and highly recommend it. So basically, if you got a breeding tank, what I would do is I would throw a flat rock in there, and basically that's a potential place for them to lay their eggs. I'd build a couple caves, just to basically so the female can hide from the male if she needs to. No pocossuses in these tanks. There's a rumor, I'm pretty sure it's true, but a lot of people have noticed that their plectos basically eat the eggs or some of the eggs during breeding. So I'd pull out your plectos. They ain't going to do much either. They're pretty lazy fish. They just eat food when they get big. So I'd get away from that. Alright, Snowmobile 23, I hope that basically helps you on the Jack Dempsey's. I know you want to know about the peacocks and reptilian basics on YouTube. He wanted to know about cichlid breeding in general. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and jump into peacock breeding. That's the first fish that I ever tried breeding. What I did is I went to World of Wet Pets, I went to the Wet Spot in Portland. They're the #1 distributor of cichlids in North America. These guys are huge. They're on Aquabid, and they're located here in Portland, Oregon. And it's like a factory fish place. So they got a warehouse, and their fish store is, I would say, roughly 10,000 square feet. Even more than that. But these aisleways are about 100 feet long, and it's all cichlids. These guys are just amazing. But they can get a lot of those F1 fish, basically wild-caught African cichlids, in a breeding trio. And that's what I started out with. I bought my first F1 blue peacock, which is this is one of his siblings right there. And I purchased 2 females. I paid $70 for that whole setup. Real good price. I've been breeding that fish for the past 5 years and had no problems. But if you're going to be breeding peacocks, I would recommend doing it in their own tank. I've always bred them in a 55-gallon tank, which is 48 inches long, 12 inches wide, and I don't know how tall it is, 22 inches or something like 20 inches, 19 inches, something like that. But I've had no issues. This was the first tank that they ever were in inside my house, and every other week I had a female pregnant. So basically what I recommend doing is setting up a 55-gallon tank, and I recommend building one area right here in the center so you can see everything. I like keeping my tank symmetrical. I know this one isn't, but basically build a cave that you can see from one side. So have one side closed off, one side open. And what's going to happen is your male's going to come in here, and he's going to swoop all this stuff out, make a nice little nest under your cave, and he's basically going to try to guide his females inside that cave and trap them in there. He's going to go around in circles. They'll basically do their breeding, and eventually she'll take off. I do highly recommend a lot of plants inside a peacock breeding tank, just like any other fish out there. I would offer multiple spots for females to basically hide and get away, because a male can basically kill a female by picking on it. I do not recommend having one female to one male. I've always had better luck with 5 females. A lot of people just go 3 females. But the reason why I go 5 is because I can have 2 pregnant peacocks in one tank. And I pull those 2 females out and I put them in a separate tank. Now I'm stuck with 1 female and 1 male in a tank. And that female is going to get hammered for 14 to 28 days. So 5's better. Your chances of 5 getting pregnant at the same time are really rare. So basically that's how I do it. Most of the time I like to do my water change-outs each week. That increases my chance of breeding. One thing to look for in a pet store is, I know it's pretty difficult at an early age, but this fish right here, if you guys see that guy, this is actually a female. And you can see that she don't have any color. She's almost has no pigment. She's not white or anything. But underneath her anal fin, there's no egg spots whatsoever. Now look at this guy right here. He is actually a male. I shot a video a couple days ago. This guy will be fully colored in 4 weeks, guaranteed. Now you can see how dark he is. He is definitely a male. Now don't get me wrong, females can be dark too. But the thing that you look for is that anal fin. If it has any egg spots whatsoever, majority of the time it is a male. And same thing with the color. You're going to see a hint of color inside their skin, on their head, on their dorsal fin, things like that. So look for that. Let's see. So temperature is a big thing. If you've been having your tank set up for a few months and you haven't seen any breeding, drop the temperature for a week. Drop it down to 75, 72. Crank it back up to 80. Fuck with, pardon my language, mess with the temperature, and basically what that'll do is it'll kind of like, hey, whoa, what's going on? Is the seasons changing or what? And then usually when it heats back up, they're like, okay, it's time to breed. Winter time's over, you know. Captive fish are real weird like that, so that's always a good idea to do. Same thing with zebras. In a tank like this, I got zebras, and I got electric yellows, I got OB red zebras. What else do I got in here that I breed? Let's see. I got some yellow zebras in there too. Yeah, you know, I'm sorry, I've been selling a lot of my fish off, so it doesn't look like I have much. Oh yeah, I got a bumblebee in here too. So basically in a tank like this, I can pretty much community breed in here. I don't really have any much issues. Basically, whichever male is going to do it, he's going to keep the fish away, like this bumblebee right here. This was the breeding area for his last session with his female that's over here that's pregnant with a ton of babies. Basically, he just pretty much kept this area all to himself, made sure all the fish were out of the way. Same thing with this. This is one of my male yellow zebras, and so is this. And these guys are excellent at keeping the fish away when they're breeding. So community breeding is possible. I mean, today, right now, this guy or this girl, she just got pregnant. You can see she's got a nice big mouthful. I watched her breed with the male in here, and he was keeping the other fish away, no problem. So breeding cichlids isn't that hard. The biggest thing is get your fish. Start purchasing fish, as many as you can get or afford, and throw them in a tank, species-wise. And soon you'll figure out what's female and what's not female. I can tell you every single fish in here which is female and which is not. It took a long time to figure out how to do that, but the best way to do is look for differences in that fish compared to any of the other fishes in here. You know, I got a female in here. I could just tell by the tint of her color that she's a female that I've bred with before. You know, so look for those differences between those fish. That way they're easy to spot. Once you spot them, then you won't get rid of them. So basically, that's all I got on my breeding. I know there's tons more to talk about. Make sure that your temperature is up in the 80s for it to happen. I noticed one little trick too is if you got a problem with aggressive fish, go ahead and crank down your heater to about 72 and that'll calm your fish down, and you can basically figure out what the problem is and take care of it if you can't take care of it then. So basically what I'm trying to say is, if you had a fish in here that you could not get rid of, what I would do is crank your temperature down to 72 until you could get rid of them, and that would mellow out all your fish and less likely chance that you're going to lose fish. I like running my water up at 82. I like fish highly aggressive. I like them moving around and staying active. So they also eat more too when you're doing that. So that's all I got to talk about with cichlid breeding. I will be posting another video shortly about my saltwater hot tub frag tank setup. And basically we're a lot closer than I thought to startup. And I'll get into that in just a minute. I'm going to exit out of this video and go ahead and shoot another one, and then I got these 3 videos that I'll post real quick for you guys tonight. So hey guys, I just want to say thanks for all the comments. My video went nuts last night, the one that I shot with the new downsized system and the new sump design. I just want to say thanks to all you guys out there, and good luck with your tanks. I'm trying to check out some of your guys' setups, but it's hard to keep up with all the emails and the comments, and trying to remember. Unfortunately, YouTube has a bad way of setting up that messaging system. You know, basically you get all these comments and all these messages from all these people, and you don't know if you've written them back, or you don't even know what you've written to them. So I apologize if I don't get to your guys' messages, or if I write you twice. But it's hard to try to remember everyone's message. So hopefully they'll change something. They'll kind of turn it into an email. That way it'd be easier to message people and stay on track. That way you don't have to keep going back and think about what you said. So thanks, guys. I'll go ahead and exit this video and post you guys another one. Thanks, guys.